first and foremost, this vlog is not starting out the way that I intended. It is much later in the day than I thought. I thought I was going to start this at the beginning of the day when I left this morning, which was about 8 o'clock. It is now 4:30. But circumstances did not allow for me to start it any earlier. But we're going to roll with it. Aside from that, hello, welcome back everybody. For those of you that just stumbled upon this vlog and this is the first time you've seen me before, my name is Latanya. I am a teacher in Southern California, and I've uploaded and vlogged for years now, but I was pretty consistent about it. Like for the most part, for years now have uploaded on a weekly basis. There was a point where I was uploading on a daily basis, and then the early part of this year, I should say, that was diminished down to kind of like maybe once every couple of weeks, to the point where I just haven't uploaded for the past 4 or 5 months, because I just couldn't do it. Like I really just didn't have it in me to do it. And I will talk more about that when I'm home. But I wanted to at least still attempt to do a day in the life vlog and kind of get caught up with those of you that have been around for a while. And in order to do that, I felt like I wanted to just kind of say hello and get it started before I jumped into like the meat of like the catch up part. But there's been changes since you last saw me. And one that you're seeing now, I am in Inglewood right now. I just finished getting my hair braided by my cousin Siobhan. We call her Shasha. She is a braider, and she did my hair for me today because it's summer. I wanted something fun and I didn't want to do my hair, so we got this done. And so we just finished not too long ago, and I'm headed back home. So I'm really just here to say hello, start the vlog. It's going to be a day in the life that starts at 4:30, which is fine because in the summer I don't typically go to bed until like 1 o'clock in the morning. So as far as I'm concerned, the day is young. Those of you that have been with me for a while, hopefully this camera work and this camera angle is working for you, because I used to vlog in the car using my iPad. Ever since I got this new car, the car's not new anymore, but I've had it for about a year. Still loving it, in case you're wondering. It's an Acura MDX. The way the dashboard is set up, it's not made for my iPad to sit on the dashboard and record, which is what I used to do in my old car, which was a Volkswagen. It had this perfect little spot where I could put an iPad in there and film from there, and it just doesn't work in this car. So I found this little rear view mirror phone holder from Amazon, which is supposed to securely attach itself to both sides of my rear view mirror, but the way my rear view mirror is designed, the clasps don't fit on both sides. So right now you're clasped on one side of the mirror, which means you're not as stable as you should be, which therefore means there might be a lot of jostling about right now, and for that I apologize. So with that being said, I will talk to you guys when I get home and there's more stable camera work, but it's going to be a minute because LA traffic, so it's going to be a minute. But hello, good to see you. It's been a while. We will catch up when I get home, and I'll fill you in on the changes and all of that. Not that there's been like major changes, but just kind of what I've been up to the past few months.
There's a 7-minute slowdown on I-105 East in 1 mile. You are still on the fastest route.
There's a 7-minute slowdown on the 105, so there's that. But I will talk to you guys when I get home. You guys, I am in absolute misery right now. As you can see, I'm moving at a whopping 3 miles per hour. According to Google Maps, I'm nowhere near being home. And because the school I work at is very close to where I live, like it's all on the streets, I have very little tolerance for traffic. So this is so painful right now. I just finished talking to one of my former coworkers on the phone, so that helped pass a little bit of time, and now I'm going to spend the rest of the time reading, and by reading, listening to a book that I'm hoping to use in my classroom on Audible. I think it is called the Firekeeper's Daughters. So what I have been doing since I've been on break, and I'll just kind of briefly talk about it, I'm sure I'll get into more detail later, is trying to find like inclusive chapter books that middle schoolers would enjoy. And so I found one that kind of focuses on Latino, Latinx culture, called Clap When You Land, which is very good. I really wanted to use the Poet X in my classroom, but there's like a chapter that is a little too saucy for me. I just don't want to deal with it. But I found another book by the same author, which is just as good. Read that. We're going to use that one. And then this one I picked because the characters in this book, or the main character, is indigenous, and it kind of touches on like indigenous culture and background. So anyway, let me just keep rolling along. I'll talk to you when I get home. Okay. It's 7 o'clock. I'm not home, but I'm close to it. I'm at the beauty supply because it's a mess. I need to get a bigger bonnet that will fit all these braids and something to moisturize my scalp. And then I will be home, and I will probably need to walk Wolfie. And if I have the energy, I will vlog a little bit while I'm walking Wolfie, so that you guys can meet Wolfie if you haven't already, and understand how Wolfie came into my life. But right now, let me go into this beauty supply and get the things that I need, and hurry up and get myself home to Wolfie, because he's probably sad that he's been by himself all day. So let's get that done. I made it home. And since you saw me last, I have some sad news to report, and that is that as I was leaving the beauty supply and getting on the freeway to get home, a little stone hit my windshield, and now I have the teeniest, tiniest of cracks in my windshield. And of course, if you know me, you know that I'm very quietly panicking on the inside, because I don't like stuff like that, as I'm sure no one does. But I'm going to try and stay calm, because it is oh my God, it is possible that I have warranty on my car that covers that. So I need to call Acura tomorrow. If not that, I obviously have car insurance that could cover that. But I also feel like there's some sort of company where if it's a little teeny tiny crack, they have some kind of device that fixes that without you having to fix the whole windshield. That's a problem to solve for tomorrow. Right now, I need to take Wolfie on a walk. He is right serious right there. He's been alone most of the day. And move these boxes, because I have quite a few boxes in my house. My mom claimed that my house looked like a warehouse while I was getting my hair done, and I thought she was being dramatic, because my mom is known for being that. But she's not lying. It does kind of look like a warehouse, so we're going to go ahead and give her credit for that. I'm going to handle all that when I get back. I'm going to try and check in with you guys while I'm walking. It just depends on how Wolfie does, and then we'll see what happens from there in this very late day in the life. So let's get Wolfie walked. Come on, Wolf. Okay, I'm kind of in the thick of it now with Wolfie and his walk. We're kind of at the halfway mark. Hold on a second. Come on. Wolfie, come. Wolfie. Wolfie Goldberg. Come on. So, since last I vlogged, I got a new dog. He is not new. He's new to me. Prior to that, I had Riley living with me, which was technically my mom's dog, and he was a little, we believe he's a mix of a Pomeranian and a Chihuahua, but technically that was my mom's dog. And where she was living when he started living with me, she just couldn't have dogs, so that's why he was with me. And prior to that, I had Genesis, and so there was a time where I had Genesis, which was my dog. She was a miniature pinscher, and then Riley, which was my mom's dog, who was a mix of a Chihuahua and a Pomeranian. A couple years ago, I had to put Genesis down, and then it was just Riley and me, my little ride or die brother. And so early March, a friend of mine that I met through Orange Theory DM'd me and asked if I knew anyone that would be willing to adopt a golden doodle, which is what Wolfie is, because her and her family had him, and they realized that their lives were just too busy with their kids and their work schedules for them to feel like they were taking care of him the way that they wanted to. So she sent some pictures, and I had seen them before because we're friends on Instagram. And when she sent the pictures, I didn't tell her right away because I wasn't sure. I was like, do I want Wolfie? And by the name, his name is Wolfie Goldberg, as in Whoopi Goldberg, but Wolfie. And so I told her, let me check around and I'd get back to her. So I thought about it, and I was like, this might be a good opportunity because this dog, he's a puppy, but not like puppy. He'll be 3 in August. And I know he's been with a good family, and they're taking the time to really see if they can find someone to take care of him. I knew he was trained, so maybe I'll do it. So I told her, I was like, I might be interested in doing it and taking him in. Do you mind if, like, I meet him and then go from there and maybe spend a night with him and see how we do? So she was like, yeah, of course. Hold on. So Wolfie came to spend the night for one night so that we can kind of get to know each other and see how we felt, along with Riley. And it went really well. And so the next day I said, yes, I will take in Wolfie. Okay, so that was like the early part of March, and so I've had him since then. He is the sweetest little dog you'd ever want to meet. He just wants to play all day and be loved and cuddle and all of that. He's potty trained, obedient, and that's really good. Of course, it took him a little bit to kind of get adjusted to the neighborhood and going on walks in this area and all of that, but he's fully adjusted now. And once he had been with me for a while, I just was like, this really turned out to be the perfect situation for me. Like, he was the perfect dog at the perfect time. I didn't have time to train a puppy. So it just like worked itself out. So, yeah, so the timing was just really good for me to take in a dog, but at the same time, I knew I didn't have time to like train a puppy and do all the things that come with like a puppy. So it just really worked out. And he, like, the breed is just very loving. They just want to be next to you and all of that. And so I had this night where I was like sitting on the couch with him because he sits right next to me on the couch, and we were just snuggling because although he's bigger than the dogs I've had, in Wolfie's mind, he is in fact a lap dog. So he will sit in my lap and just kind of want to be held. And like, if you're a dog lover, you know, when you're just with the dog and you feel like you can feel the physical improvement in your overall mental and physical health just by being near a dog. And I was having one of those moments, and I was just like, this is just so perfect. And I've shared him on Instagram, and I think I've said something along those lines about how he came at just the right time and how great he is. And someone commented something along the lines of like, you know, sometimes our previous pets or pets we've lost send dogs to us at the right time to take, he's really going through it right now, to take care of us. And I really do feel like Genesis sent me Wolfie, because when I had to put Genesis down, like for a long time, even the thought of having another dog just wasn't even, like, I couldn't even fathom it. Yes, I had Riley, but that was different. I had always had Riley as a family member. But just bringing in a new dog to the family and into my house, I just couldn't do it. Like, I wasn't ready. And so when Wolfie came along, I was kind of at a point where I was like, I think I'm ready now. And so I do believe that. I do believe Genesis brought him to me. And so, yeah, that is the story of Wolfie. He will be 3 in August. And he's precious. He's not perfect, but he's precious. He's close to perfect. So that is how he came to be. And Riley is with my mom. So we're going to finish up our walk, and I'm going to get him home and feed him and kind of get myself settled, because I feel like I've been in a car or sitting all day. And then I'll check in with you guys a little bit later on. I'm back from my walk. I vlogged during my walk. I came home and I had boxes everywhere that were creating a bit of a mess in my condo. I think I said at one point, I don't know if I'll include the clip because I'm not sure of the camera quality because I was on my phone, but I got, while I was away, several boxes arrived at my doorstep today, and I had asked my mom to come here at some point today because I knew my factor meals were coming today and I didn't want them sitting outside in the sun because I wasn't sure what time I would be home. And my mom, being my mom, Loretta, she's a little nosy, texted me and said, girl, you got all these packages coming? It looks like a warehouse in your house. To which I thought she was being dramatic, but it turns out she was right. So there were quite a few boxes, but they were just kind of all over the place. So when I got home from Wolfie, to just clear my mind, I needed to clear the boxes out and put the stuff away. Basically, what are you chewing on? Most of it was stuff that I bought from Amazon because I want to redo the front of my house. I have patio furniture at the front of my condo, but I've always felt like it's a little oversized and the cushions are kind of torn. Like, I'm just ready for a refresh. And so I wanted to get something a little bit smaller, and I'm gonna take a risk and think I'm gonna put an outdoor rug out in the front. And then I bought some planter holders because I'm just giving up, and I'm just gonna create fake flower arrangements to sit at the front of my door because I like the look of flowers, like potted plants and flowers by front doors. I just can't keep those potted plants and flowers alive. So I've given up on that. I found some artificial ones on Amazon. And so I also needed to buy pots to put them in, but I also think now I need to buy styrofoam to stick the fake pieces in. So that was what everything was. And I ordered some books. So it wasn't, I mean, it looked a lot more than what it was. And my box of factor meals. So, I just finished warming up my dinner for tonight. I've been using Factor meal delivery service for about a week now. This is my second shipment. So far, I like it. I have done HelloFresh before, and before that, I did Blue Apron for a long time, and I really liked those things. But I have gotten to a place in life at this particular moment and juncture where I can't, like, this year just really took it out of me, and I'll talk more about that later. But like, I just need convenience, and I'm willing to pay for convenience. So to be able to have meals that are good, they're pretty good, that I just have to pop in the microwave, I'm all about it. So I've only had one shipment of 8 meals. My first box was $70 because I think I had some sort of discount, and I just order enough for dinner. And so they have several different like meal plans, like if you want to do keto or you want to be calorie conscious or high in protein. I'm pretty sure I said I want to focus on like calorie conscious. You have quite a few meal options, and you literally put them in the microwave for 2 minutes and that's it. Now I feel like a part of me has given up on life where I'm like, I don't even want to cook. But it's okay. I don't even want to go to the grocery store at this point, you guys. Like, I also use a lot of Instacart. So I just put that in the microwave. What I thought I was gonna do, honestly, is come back and then kind of do a more thorough update based on some of the questions some of you left on YouTube as well as Instagram. But the new Latanya has to recognize that she's tired. And she's been in traffic for hours today and sitting down and getting her hair braided, which is not, those are not labor intensive, but they're tiring in different ways. And so I need to respect the fact that I'm tired, and I really just want to sit down and relax and be quiet and wind down. And I need to honor that need in me. And so I'm going to pick up the camera again tomorrow and get in more detail about like just the catch-up of it all, like what's been going on these past few months and why I decided to take such a long break and what was that all about. And I'm proud of myself for making that decision, because old Latanya would have just forced herself to do it. And I don't want to do that, because I want to be able to answer questions and kind of talk through some things with like a clear mind and feel rested. But I did pick up the camera because I wanted to kind of show you the Factor subscription. So I think I took some footage of me unboxing it, and here are the meals. So you can pick them. You can pick up to 8, or at least the plan I'm on. And they're just right here. So like I got, like, this is barbecue chicken. They all look like this, and on the side it'll tell you what it is. This one's Italian herb chicken, and so on. And the one I'm having right now, I want to say it's like, here it is. Tonight I am having this, if it'll focus, which it's, there we go, goat cheese mushroom onion burger. So when I ordered, I'm like, I don't know if these are just going to be glorified lean cuisines, and to some extent they are, but at the same time, let me see if I can take the film off so you can get a better sense. They're not. I mean, they're a step up from my lean cuisine or budget gourmet. They've been quite tasty. They're pretty filling. There was one where I was like, I'm still hungry, so I just ate a piece of toast with it. But for the most part, it's enough for me to feel satisfied, and then I might have like a little dessert. But again, the fact that I don't have to cook outweighs all of that at this moment. So here is what this looks like. So that's it. And this is 640 calories, and it was done in 2 minutes. There's no dishes for me to clean. And that's beautiful for me. And so just imagine during the school year coming home and not having to cook. Cooking, for one, it's fun, it's an adventure. I liked it, but it's also a lot of work because you have to cook, then you have to clean and put all the stuff away. So I'm gonna have that for dinner. I'm gonna finish watching this Gabrielle Union movie that I started last night and didn't get to finish, and just rest. And at some point tomorrow, I will pick up the camera and check in with you guys more thoroughly about what I've been up to these past 4 months, and probably just leave it at that. It'll be kind of like a couple of days in my life. I meant to do a day in the life, but it all just went the opposite way of what I thought it was going to be from the time I got ready to leave this morning until now. So at least you got to see and hear a little bit about Wolfie. Hopefully I explained all that clearly. So again, his name is Wolfie Goldberg. Wolfie Goldberg Robinson now. So he is Jewish and black, so we do need to celebrate Hanukkah and Kwanzaa come the holidays. His birthday's in August. He will be 3. His first family, mom, dad, and the 2 boys they live with live very close by. They're like 10 minutes away. And when I went, one of the things I did while I wasn't blogging is I went to Arizona with my family because my sister officially finished school and she has her doctorate in nurse practitioning. That's not the way I'm supposed to say it, but she got her doctorate degree in nurse practitioning. And so we were gone for a few days. And so Wolfie got to stay with his first family and spend some time with them. But he's so sweet. So sweet. Oh, Wolfie boy. So sweet. My little teddy bear. And I'm just so thankful to have him. And like I said, I really do believe that Genesis sent him to me at the time that I was prepared to, like, love another dog. I can't explain why it was different with Riley. Riley really was like my trauma dog. Like, he was there for me when I lost Genesis, and he kind of filled in that void. But he was always my mom's dog. That was my fur brother. So I'm so glad that Wolfie came into my life at the time that he did, where I felt like I was prepared to have a dog that was mine. And he came at a time where I needed that, and he came potty trained. So yeah, I do want to get him another one someday, soon, but not now. It's going to be a smaller dog because he's bigger than what I'm used to. So anyway, that's it for today. I will see you guys tomorrow. Good afternoon. Yeah, it's about 11:30. It is Friday. I picked up the camera for the first time in a long time on Tuesday. And I was supposed to pick it up the next day and kind of fill you guys in, and I didn't. And then the next day came and I didn't. And in all honesty, like, I just wasn't in the mood, and I'm really just trying to find the balance of like doing things that I feel like doing when I feel like doing it, and being okay with not doing things that I don't have to do when I don't feel like doing it. So the past couple of days I've just been in a mood because I've been hormonal. So I wasn't in the best of moods, and I just didn't think that that was anything that you guys wanted to see on camera, and I wasn't really doing anything. The most that I did in the past 2 days is on Wednesday, the cleaning lady came, and while she was here, I cleaned out the garage, which was on my list of things to accomplish this summer. Not that my garage was super bad, but it was just like dusty. So I did that. And then yesterday, I took the stuff from the garage that was salvageable, but that I just didn't want, and I took that to Goodwill, and I went to Starbucks, and that is the most productive thing that I did. I did those 2 things, and that was pretty much it. Now today, my arm is hurting. I'm gonna put you guys on some paper towels. So I'm really just here right now to say good afternoon, start the vlog. I'm just gonna document today and then end it at the end of the day, whatever time of day that happens to be. So all I've done this morning is I got out of bed at about 9 o'clock, generally speaking. I get out of bed at about 8:30 every morning, and this morning the alarm went off and I just was still tired, so I didn't get out of bed till 9, but I still kind of stayed on schedule with when I generally finish exercising. I'm usually on some sort of exercise apparatus, whether it be the Peloton bike or the tread, by 9:45. So I got on the treadmill today at 10. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I've had the Peloton for the bike, at least for more than 3 years. I got it during the pandemic, like everybody else. And for a long time I was doing that and going to Orange Theory. I stopped going to Orange Theory, I don't know exactly what month it was, but it was probably sometime around March, because I decided to get the treadmill, the Peloton treadmill. I love Orange Theory. I loved it. I really did, but over the course of time, the trainers that I liked going to had moved on. The front desk people were gone. Pre-COVID, going to Orange Theory was a very social experience for me, like the people that coached and ran the front desk. I would consider them friends. Like, we had a very friendly relationship. I went to the 5 a.m. class all the time, and that in and of itself is like a very specific group of people. So there were regulars, and then COVID came, and then Orange Theory post-COVID just wasn't the same. The trainers that I really liked moved on to other things, and the front desk people were gone, and then just the crowd of people at the particular Orange Theory I was going to at the time of days that I went, it just was no longer like a crowd of people that like I clicked with. Now, mind you, although it seems like I'm very extroverted on YouTube because I'm talking to you guys, a lot of you whom I've never met, I'm really quite introverted in the sense that if I don't know you very well, I'm not really divulging my whole life story to you. So I knew a handful of people when I went to those classes at Orange Theory, and I definitely talked to them. And it just got to a point where the people that were there, not only did I not know them, but just some of the things that I overheard them talking about and the way they were talking, these were not really people I would want to ever really get to know. So it was no longer a social experience for me. So I stopped going for those reasons, because once I had the treadmill and the bike, it became clear that I could create my own Orange Theory in my home, and it would be much cheaper. So all that to say, my routine is I'll either do 30 minutes on the bike and then a 30-minute power walk, or I'll do a full hour on the treadmill. One class is a 30-minute power walk, and then one class is like a walk run. And I'm telling you, that treadmill, it's a killer. I have no regrets buying either one of those things, but it's something about running on the Peloton treadmill that just feels harder to me than running on the Orange Theory treadmill. So the days that I have to run, which was today, I kind of dread, because running it's a whole different kind of energy. Like, I'm pretty good cycling. It's a good workout when I cycle, but I don't feel as taxed or as winded as when I'm running. And I'm also frustrated because there was a point in time where I was a pretty good runner. Like, I've never been a sprinter, but like the endurance that I have was good. I've ran 2 half marathons, and there was a point where I could just run and run and run and felt like I was very much in control of my breathing and all of that. And I just don't feel that way right now. I haven't been feeling that way lately, but I also have to remind myself that that was like 10 years ago. when I was young. So I just generally try and remind myself on the treadmill, I'm taking it one class at a time, and progress is progress, and I'm on my run, and I'm doing what I need to do the way that I need to do it. So I finished that not too long ago, so if it looks like I'm very sweaty, that's because I am. So aside from that, I am going to take a shower because I need to go to, what is that place called? Safe Light, to get the little chip in my windshield fixed. I believe I mentioned on Tuesday on the way home from the beauty supply, a little teeny tiny rock hit my windshield and produced the tiniest of cracks in that windshield, and that needs to be fixed. So I'll show that to you. I have a 1 o'clock appointment at Safe Light, and I booked that appointment, and I believe it's going to cost me like $160 to get that fixed. Let me see here. But this is the garage. I cleaned it. Just like I needed to dust. That bag is going to go to Goodwill. I push broom the grounds. So, again, it wasn't bad. It just was annoying me. But anyway, let's show you this little crack. I think you'll be able to see it. See that? I can't tell if it's focusing or not, but it's right there. Maybe if I move back, it'll focus a little bit more. But needless to say, it's small. But it's big enough to cause me anxiety, so we're gonna get rid of it. And that is what's on my agenda. So I'm gonna go there at 1 o'clock. I asked them how long they thought that would take. He said about 45 minutes to an hour. So I'm probably gonna take my laptop with me and try and do some stuff. And then later on today, somewhere between 3, I think he said 3 and 5, I'm going to have a phone call with Dr. Shiraki Holly, who is, I don't know what, I mean, I guess what you would say is like he's an expert in professional development for teachers in districts and schools that are looking to be more culturally and linguistically responsive in teaching practices. So he's done some trainings in my district. I was a part of a group last year, like an experimental group where members of his team would come out to some classrooms and kind of observe us and give us tips and coach us through progressing along the continuum of being more culturally and linguistically responsive. I had the privilege of him being the person that came into my classroom. It was him and another person, and he happened to be the one that came in my classroom. And was it a little nerve-wracking? It was. And so he came in, and one of the things that he noticed when he came in is I took some of the stuff we learned last summer in Santa Fe at that conference about cultural behaviors, and I made this poster for it that I keep at the front of my classroom on my whiteboard that I would refer to. And instead of calling it cultural behaviors in the poster, I think I titled it learning styles or something like that. And the first time he came in my classroom, he asked me why I chose to do that, like why I called them learning styles and didn't specifically reference the fact that these were cultural behaviors. And when he asked me that, I was like, I don't really have a reason. I think in my mind, I thought because the context in which we were talking about those things was in terms of how kids learn and how some of those behaviors could be assets, that I just called them learning styles. And so I could tell that his preference was that I didn't refer to them as learning styles and really just was explicit about the fact that these are cultural behaviors that are actually assets when used and channeled in the right way. And so I made some changes to that poster and I sent it to him maybe a couple weeks ago and asked him to take a look to see what he thought about the changes, and he said he'd like to talk through it on the phone or through Zoom. Now I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like that seemed to be the only issue he had with the poster, and I didn't make that many changes aside from the title and some of the wording. So hopefully he just wants to kind of talk through his thoughts and he's not like absolutely not, but we'll see. But I'm supposed to talk to him anytime between 3 and 5 today, so I'll do that when I get back. So yeah, that's what I'm doing today, and in between all of that, I will be sure to kind of do the little catch-up session about where I've been the past few months, what's been going on, how have I been feeling, and so on. So hello, and yeah, I'll talk to you later. So update on the replacement or the repair of my windshield. It's 1:31. My appointment to get the chip fixed was 1 o'clock. And it's not that they were that fast getting it done, it's just that I ended up not going through them. So I checked in, and the person that was going to help me saw the little crack, and luckily he was very honest about like the situation. I have never had a chip repaired in a windshield before, so I really thought getting a chip repaired was like a repair, but what he was explaining was it's really a temporary fix, and that it'll solve things for now, but eventually the crack is going to expand no matter what he does. And as soon as he saw it, he was like, ooh, it's in a really bad spot. It's at the very bottom of the windshield. And he's like, and if we fix it today, it's 50-50. We can go in there, we can work on it, and it won't expand at all when we do it, or we can go in there, and because of where it's at, there is a chance that it is going to expand, and so you would have spent money and come out of it with the crack that's even bigger than what you're starting with. And so after he said all that, because me being the teacher, I had to restate what I understood. And I said, so what you're saying to me is no matter what you do, at some point this crack is going to expand. So even if I got it fixed today and it didn't expand today, it's going to start expanding at some point, and I'm going to eventually need to replace the whole windshield at some point, whether that's months down the line, years down the line, or whatever. And he was like, yes, you're one of the smart ones. That's exactly what I'm saying. So with that being said, I'm like, I'm not going to spend $150 for a temporary fix, knowing that at some point I'm going to replace the windshield anyway. So he gave me some tips on how to make it so that it doesn't expand as quick. So one thing he said people do with this kind of chip is they'll put a piece of Scotch tape on it so that hot and cold air, or well, actually no, so that water is not getting in there, like when you get the car wash or whatever the case may be. And then also when I park the car, even though I park my car in the garage, just try and keep the windows slightly cracked so that it doesn't get as hot in the car, so that the crack is not experiencing extreme heat and then extreme cold, because that's just going to help it grow. So what I'm going to do when I get home is I actually tried to call AAA already, but the line is long, so that I have a scheduled callback. Is I'm just curious to see what my deductible is. I'm pretty sure it's $500. I just want to confirm. And so what I'm probably going to do is, like, when the summer's over and I'm not like on a much more tight budget than what I normally am, I'm going to just replace the whole windshield, because it's going to happen eventually anyway. And I'll probably go through them. But he said when I call AAA to set that appointment, to make sure they know I don't want an aftermarket windshield, I want the actual one that it's supposed to be in this car. And so that's what I'm going to do. And he asked me if I was okay, and I said yes. I'm just really annoyed. This is like the most annoying thing about driving to me, aside from the fact that it's one of the most dangerous things that we engage in. It's just rocks flying. Like, no one can control it. It's no one's fault, you know, in general, because no one's out there throwing rocks, but it's just like one of those things. And just the annoyance of, had I just left the beauty supply like 10 seconds later, or just taken a different route home, I wouldn't be in this predicament. But the blessing is I do have a separate account that I set up with the credit union that is titled Blanca. That's my car's name, in case you didn't know. And it's strictly for moments like this, like car registration, car repairs. So I think there's about $100 in there now, because I took the money that I had saved out when I needed to get the registration on this car, because the registration was not cheap. So that's yay me for saving proactively, but still. So I'm here now just at the gas station. I'm going to get gas. I'm going to go home. I'm going to eat lunch. And after I eat lunch, I'm going to try and really sit down and do the catch up with you guys about where I've been and what's going on. And then I'll probably end the vlog there. So, didn't get the windshield fixed. All right, it's 4:15ish. I just finished talking to Dr. Holly on the phone about the posters I had created. And it wasn't anything bad. It was just like a very small question he had, because I titled the poster Cultural Assets, and he still wanted to know, like, why not behaviors? And we just kind of had to talk through the pros and the cons, really. of using one word versus the other. Okay, that's Wolfie. There you go. But it wasn't really that big of a deal. He doesn't have any strong preference of I have to use the word behaviors versus assets. I explained to him why. I said I know there are some people that are not 100% sold on the idea of using cultural behaviors that you see in classroom, whether it be like kids that like to move a lot, kids that like to talk out without taking a turn, and viewing those as, I think my point was, basically, I told him I chose to use the word assets because I know I've had some people ask to get copies of this poster, and or I know there's some people that I work with or in the district or in general that just really aren't fully bought into the idea of using cultural behaviors that students come to school with as assets and not viewing them as, like he said, liabilities. And I said I feel like using the word behaviors, like these are cultural behaviors, still allows them to live in the world of like, well, these are just behavior problems. So my thought was, if I call it an asset, they're not going to be able to view it as anything else but an asset if they're using that poster, or they're not going to be able to avoid the fact that we're calling these assets, or that these should be assets as opposed to behavioral problems. So we talked about that, and that was it. And now I'm here to give you a check-in, but I'm also looking at the battery, and it's saying that the battery is going to die. So I think I'm actually going to charge this battery for a little bit and then come back and fill you guys in. I keep saying that and then it doesn't happen. But when the battery's charged, I'm going to come back and fill you guys in, and then I'm going to close out the vlog for now, just so that we can get used to seeing this big boy. This is Wolfie. Wolfie loves sitting on the back of the couch. Wolfie! There he is. Look at this little teddy bear. Oh, give it to him, Wolfie. Give him face. So there he is. Huh. He's a big boy, but he thinks he's a lap dog. And so he loves to sit on this spot behind the couch when I'm sitting here. He'll sit in my lap sometimes. But he's my big baby boy. My big teddy bear. Can you give a kiss? Don't embarrass me. Give a kiss, Wolfie. Woof! Wolfie. Wolfie, give me a kiss. No? Okay. Well, anyway, let me go charge this battery and give me a kiss. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Woo, thank you. And we'll be back. All right, I'm back. The camera is charged. Hopefully it's charged enough for me to get through our little catch-up session, and we'll be good to go. So, as I mentioned at the beginning of the vlog, for those of you that may be watching one of my vlogs for the first time, I'm a teacher in Southern California. I teach 8th grade language arts, social studies, and history. And I've had this YouTube channel now for years, probably close to 10 years at this point. And for most of that time, I've been pretty consistent about uploading at least on a weekly basis. There was a time where I did it daily. But the past year or so, I feel like it's been pretty, I don't know if sporadic is the word, but it just hasn't been as consistent. And then about 4 or 5 months ago, I just stopped uploading. And I think I kind of mentioned that it could happen, or that I was going to take a break. But I really didn't know that the break that I was going to take was going to be as long as it ended up being. So I'm back, and a few days ago when I knew, like, okay, I think I'm ready to pick up the camera, I asked on Instagram as well as on YouTube, like, what questions or what updates did you guys want? And so I'm just going to try and respond to those here, because it was pretty clear. There were like 3 main things people wanted to kind of discuss, 3 or 4. And so I'm going to do that. So first and foremost, the most frequent or regular question I got, whether it was on Instagram or on YouTube, was just really, how was I doing? Which I really appreciate. It's nice to know that for a lot of people, their main concern was just, am I okay? Because I really was gone longer than I knew I would be, and I'm sure that longer than what people expected. And I would say right now I'm doing pretty good. In all honesty, I just feel like 2023 has just been a year of growing pains for me. It has not been the easiest year. When I came back from Spain and 2023 started, things just kind of just became challenging. The first thing that happened was just finding out that my parents had been defrauded out of a very large sum of money, and trying to help them through that. That is very stressful, obviously, but just really stressful for me and my brother and sister, and obviously my parents, because they really needed, and still to this very moment need, that money, because their money is extremely tight. My mom works as a proctor at one of the schools in my district. My dad has had some medical issues that have really kind of incapacitated him in a lot of ways. He's had surgery from due to being diagnosed with cancer. There was a tumor that was removed, and he's just had complications from that since then. For the past, at this point, it's been 3 years. He's also had knee surgery, so he's been recuperating from that, and he also needs surgery on his other knee. So needless to say, for the most part, they're living off the income that my mom brings in, which is not a ton, because she just proctors, and she gets Social Security, I believe, but my dad doesn't, because he's been self-employed. And without going into too much detail, they just don't have a lot of resources or savings to rely upon. So the amount of money that was taken to them was really the money that they absolutely needed to live off of. It was money from the sale of a piece of property that we finally were able to get sold, and before they even had a chance to make that money be productive for them, it was taken in a scam through Bank of America, where they thought they were transferring money from their account to another one of their accounts through Zelle, and they were just transferring it to someone that we don't know. And so people have asked about the update there. Nothing much has changed. My mom is still working. I know that she's been speaking with investigators. Bank of America has pretty much washed their hands of it and said, oh well, too bad, so sad. And so we're just hoping something comes of it, of the investigation, but honestly, I don't have a lot of optimism there. They lost about $40,000 in the span of a week. And me, my brother, and sister didn't know what was going on until it was literally too late, and my mom had transferred all the money out of their account. So it's just been really hard to try and deal with that and try and help my parents as best as I can. And so that's that. I mean, surprisingly, they're in good spirits, and we're all trying to stay positive, but nonetheless, that's stressful. So that all started going down in 2023. And then also a big thing that happened is a friendship that I've had for pretty much just about all of my teaching. So this friendship was at least probably 14, 15 years old. Unexpectedly has come to an end. And surprisingly came to an end. This was a person that I really thought, in my heart of hearts, deep down in my soul, I thought this is a person I'm going to be friends with forever. Would have never thought we weren't going to be friends. And so it was very shocking to me that happened. And what I've just learned in the process is a friendship ending like that really is like the loss. It's like a breakup, if not worse. Like, it's like a divorce. Because this was someone I talked to pretty frequently on a regular basis, and for, like I said, close to 15 years, and then suddenly we just stopped talking. And of course, it makes me very sad. It's very disappointing. The way things ended is not anything I would have ever imagined. The way that I feel like I was treated towards the end of the friendship, as it was, deteriorating, was very shocking to me. And really what I've learned is you have to pay attention to the way people treat you, and you have to realize people make time for the people they want to make time for. And if they're not making time for you or wanting to make time for you, that lets you know how important you are or your friendship is to them. And I've never been the type that has had just like a slew, like this large group of friends, like in the double digits. I have a lot of acquaintances and things like that, but people that I consider like really good friends, I've never been a person that had this super large friend group, because it's just not in my nature. Sorry. Which therefore means the people that I do consider to be close friends are really important to me, because I have really said this is someone that I really feel like is a good friend to have and very close to me, and I therefore devote a lot of time and energy into maintaining that friendship. Like once I decide to be someone's friend, like not saying I'm perfect and I don't make mistakes, but I am so confident in saying that I'm a really, really good friend. And if a friend needs me or there's anything I can do or be there for a friend, I'm going to do what I can to be there for them. And when you get to a point where you realize that level of care and the friendship is not being reciprocated, and or it's being taken advantage of, or anything along those lines, you have to decide, am I going to keep being treated that way, or do I need to kind of move on? And just learning that people are in your lives for a reason and a season is something I had to learn. Doesn't mean it was an easy thing to accept, but it's what I had to accept. So that has been very upsetting to me, very much so. And so those have been two big things that have gone on. And on top of that, this school year the past school year, I should say, was just, for whatever reason, just really exhausting. Like my classes, the kids themselves were good kids. I didn't have bad classes. I will say this past year, the needs that they had were just higher in terms of like mental health needs. There were a lot of things going on at any given moment in either one of my classes that really required a lot of attention or support of kids or emotional energy, and it was just a lot. I feel like this year I really could concretely see, for me, some of the perhaps, I don't know, after effects of COVID. I don't know, like the kids are just really going through it. And as a teacher, if you're there trying to help them through some of these things or trying to find the right resources or getting in touch with the counselor, it kind of puts you through it as well. And so right around the time where I took the break, I just had gotten to a point where I was emotionally tired about my parents' finances, accepting the loss of a friendship. Just teaching in and of itself is taxing, and just everything just felt like it was just so much. It was just too much. I couldn't do all the things. So if I couldn't do all the things I just had to do, the idea of doing anything extra, like vlogging, uploading to YouTube, responding to comments, it just felt like super overwhelming. And I didn't really feel like myself. Like the person I feel like you guys had seen in years past, I didn't feel like her. I just felt like I was overwhelmed and stressed all the time and tired. And I didn't really feel like that's something that you guys really wanted to see. Like it just felt like I wouldn't be bringing anything positive to you guys. I would just be constantly telling you that I was tired and stressed and all this. And I'm like, and who really wants to see that? So that's generally how things have been going. I feel better now, but I also know that I have to do a better job, like regardless of if I continue to upload on a regular basis or not. I just have to do a better job of paying attention to how I feel and doing what I can when I can, and being okay with not doing certain things if I just don't feel like I'm in the mental or emotional place to do it. So as far as this channel and me uploading is concerned, I'm really not sure. Like this is kind of a test to see how I feel, but again, I'm on summer break and that's different. I have more time on my hands, but nothing else has changed. Next year I'm still teaching 8th grade language arts, social studies, history, still the same teaching partner, Taylor. Still at the same school. Some of you asked about shopping. Like it was so bad, like even shopping brought zero joy. I haven't really bought anything. Even also I just felt physically like uncomfortable in my body. I didn't feel comfortable putting my clothes on. I don't know if I gained weight because I refused to weigh myself. I just felt very blah. So I haven't done any shopping for that reason, because shopping wasn't even fun. And I refuse to buy any more clothes until the end of the summer, because I've been really trying to focus on just being more physically active and more mindful of what I'm eating. So there's no fashion updates to provide you guys there. And yeah, we're gonna see how things going forward in my energy level. The other thing is, a lot of people want a financial update, which I know I did pay off all my credit cards. That is done. And I will make a separate video about that, because I just feel like that's its own separate thing, and kind of talk about that process and what my next steps are. But nothing else has changed. I still live in the same condo, aside from Wolfie. Riley's back with my mom. I don't have a love. That's okay. But yeah, just really was having a hard time in 2023. Just wasn't in a good mental space. Didn't feel super positive. Didn't want to put negative energy out there. Dealing with stress for my parents. Dealing with the end of a friendship that I thought would last forever. And just the general stress of teaching. So that's where I'm at. I think that addresses like generally all the questions were surrounding those topics. I'm going to get this edited and uploaded, and then I can't necessarily tell you when you'll see me again, because I'm not going to, put myself in that box yet. We're going to see how this goes, and we'll just go from there. So it was really nice to catch up with you guys. Please make sure you leave a comment in the comment section. If there's anything else you want to know, let me know. I'll answer it. I'm probably never going to give the specifics as to who the friend is, or get any more detailed than what I've already have. Please give this video a thumbs up to help me out, especially since I've been gone for a while, and help with my engagement and get the video out there. But as always, I know it's been a while. I really hope that you are well. And if you are not well, please try and be well in these very trying times. That's the other thing. The world is slowly burning to the ground as far as I'm concerned. And stuff like that, I think, just really gets to me in a way that I just become incapacitated. So I think that's it. But again, if you are not well, please be well. And I will see you guys soon. And thank you so much for your concern and checking in on me and supporting me in my absence. If you're not following me on Instagram, head over there. Other than that, I will see you guys in the next vlog.